Welcome to BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real.
Greetings and salutations, all my people out there in internet land. This is Black USA News Morning Show, and I am your host. I have the privilege of hosting this incredible opportunity to share people and things with you. I am William Honolulu Jr., and thank you for joining me on this Monday, March 7th, 2022. Happy 7th day of Women's History Month and National Be Heard Day. National Be Heard Day is the day that we celebrate the entrepreneurs in our ecosystem, and we encourage them to go ahead out and get their message out. One of the ways that we do that here at Black USA News is that we encourage pitches and pitch competitions. So make sure that you check out the Blackout on Saturdays, 10:30 with Tasmir Gathers. She does an amazing job. And guess what? We're going to be bringing back the perfect pitch planning program. Yeah, the perfect pitch planning program. All the P's get me confused sometimes. We're going to be bringing that back this March, and you'll get more information about that coming up. It's going to be another really great and exciting time. We had a great time last go round. Met some incredible businesses and really helped them step up their game when it came to their ability to communicate their business. So if you're an entrepreneur or you know an entrepreneur, go out there and make sure you support them today. Let them know. Let them be heard. Help them be heard today. All right. As always, big shout out to the super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan. Without him, none of this would be possible. And so I'm always grateful for having a partner in crime. Not a partner in crime, a partner in success. Changing the vocabulary. We got to be conscious about even the imagery that we feed ourselves. So my partner in success, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan, and so again, big up to him. But you all know we also need to talk about the people who make this possible. We're going to start with Edible Arrangements. They do an amazing job, have wonderful fruit and incredible candy coatings and things like that. My favorite is the pineapple dove covered in white chocolate. It is amazing. And guess what? You can even get them DoorDash. Look at this. It comes to your house and it looks just like that. Isn't that amazing? Whoop, whoop. So if you want to enjoy and celebrate, and you want, or honestly, if there's someone who's experienced a tragedy, this is always a good gift, a great gift for all occasions. Judge Billy Murphy, he has been fighting for the Black community my entire adult life. And he created a firm to really continue that practice. Murphy, Falcone, and Murphy, they focus on supporting disinvested communities, making sure that they fight hard for their clients and they win. And if you find yourself dealing with a civil situation, somebody may be suing you, or you need to sue someone, or maybe the government is not doing what it's supposed to do in your community, give Murphy, Falcone, and Murphy a call. It does not hurt you at all to go to their website, give them a call, because it costs you nothing to do that, and they can change the trajectory of your entire case. So give Murphy, Falcone, and Murphy a call on your civil side. Now, if you have criminal charges or you are concerned that law enforcement may not be treating you fairly, make sure you give the Warrior Lawyer a call. Go visit his website, because he's not just the Warrior Lawyer because he sounds good. It sounds good and it's good marketing. He fights for his clients, and you can check that out. Just Google him. You will recognize that he is everything that I tell you that he is. Our newest sponsor, the book I Am Black Wall Street by Donnie Glover. It's a really great look at Black Wall Street, but not just from the perspective of what it was and how it was destroyed. He goes back to how it was created. And I think it does really do a good job of even providing a framework so that we might be able to create our own Black Wall Streets. And he's been giving out Black Wall Street awards to people who have been who have been really invested and engaged in the Black community and demonstrating Black excellence. And here is our very own Ashley Tate with her two beautiful daughters receiving her Black Wall Street Award for all of the work that she has done in working with women and girls who are victims of abuse and human trafficking. My company, The Grinding Gang, we are always excited to try to help you take your business to the next level. We have a lot of consultants with a lot of experience who are dedicated to helping our clients reach their business goals, but also doing it in a way that that recognizes that they're people, and we need to make sure that not only do we do good business, but we do good business in a way that provides for us personally as well, that we build in times for self-care and rest and things like that into our business models, because it doesn't matter if you have all the money if you hate your life. So let us help you figure out how to create balance, how to create balance while achieving your business objectives. Yes, Darker Than Blue Grill. You all know I love the food there, and I'm excited about my next opportunity to go and enjoy it. Darker Than Blue Grill is dedicated to the community. They often have private events for community-based organizations and individuals who do big things in the community. They give as much as they get. So if you have an opportunity, swing by Darker Than Blue Cafe, and big up for them being an integral part in Baltimore City getting the CIAA conference and really being supportive along that effort. And last and absolutely not least, I want to say what's up to Dr. Tyrone Taborn and his staff over at STEM City USA. STEM City USA they do an amazing job of really in helping to ensure that as a community, we don't get left behind again. There are a lot of times where technology picks up and we get left off. And at STEM City USA, they have for years been staunch advocates in ensuring access to quality education and quality access for Black and Brown people all throughout the diaspora. And they, because of our partnership with STEM City USA, BlackUSA.news, and specifically the morning show, was the first Black media organization to stream in the metaverse. And again, we're so grateful for the partnership. So thank you, Dr. T, and all your people out there. We know good people, and I know personally, I know dope people, and I'm gonna introduce you to one of them today. I tell you all the time that it is amazing what I am able to see with Black women and the Black women in my lives and the ones that I work with, how incredible they are. And in part of our further celebration in our month of Black women, in furtherance of that celebration, we're going to talk today about, not about, but with an incredible Black woman, Lyndsae Peele. Lyndsae is not a stranger to the show, but we're going to talk to her differently today. So that I'm excited about all that, and I know you are too. But I realize some of you might be here for the first time and not quite sure what this whole month of Black women is about. The month of Black women is my opportunity to say I love you to my goddaughters. It is kind of my love letter to them because, well, you know what? I'm gonna let you hear about it yourself.
Dear Shanae and Simone, as you move through life as Black women, you will have a very unique experience. In many cases, you will be asked or expected to serve in roles that weren't clearly explained, nor did you really agree to. Over the course of my life, I have met some amazing women who have navigated some of the spaces that you will encounter. I want my village to share with you their stories of trials and successes to help provide a foundation to understand your power to choose the woman that you will become and the strength that you can find in your sisters. This series of shows is my gift to you. The women you will hear from are phenomenal. They come from different backgrounds and have chosen different paths for their lives. Each represents a facet of the Black woman experience, Some of the stories may not align with your journey directly, but those stories are even more important. By listening closely, you can learn about uncommon experiences and find ways to support your sisters along your shared journey. I love you all so much, and I hope to see you soon.
So that's what it is. We are going to talk about what it's like to be a Black woman, and I'm bringing another dope woman I know to the stage. I told you all that I know incredible women, and again, you've seen her before on the show. See, you know it, you know it. I am proud to bring you Lyndsae Peele. Lyndsae, how are you? How are you? Welcome to the program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much again, William, for having me. It is always, always, always such a pleasure to connect.
Good business. I know we talked a little bit before the show about kind of your experiences as a Black woman and how those things go. But we're going to start you off the same way we start off every guest in this series. Ready? Imagine this. Aliens come down. And I really do start everyone off like this. It's sad, but it'll wrap itself up. So watch this. Watch this. Okay. Aliens come down. And they're like, all of these people are different. And they pick you and say, hey, Lyndsae, is it? What is it like to be a Black woman? Describe it for us so we can so we can add it to our archives. What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello,
Ooh.
everyone. My name is Lyndsae Peele. I am the founder and principal consultant at Kingdom Vision Consulting. We are a financial services firm that specializes in CEO financial planning for entrepreneurs of color. And we do so by focusing on 5 key areas of finance known as class, creditworthiness, long-term wealth, asset protection, strategic banking relationships, and strategic asset accumulation. I am also the host of the Real Deal Radio Show, where we provide resources, empathy, accountability, and literacy to improve the overall wealth journey for the Black entrepreneur. We meet you at the intersection of faith, family, and finances. Now, back to your question.
All right, no. You're not gonna do all that and then just go now. Like this is what I tell you. I know dope people. This is what I'm talking about. She had the whole elevator pitch. She was like, no, and she was like, you're not gonna go past. You're not gonna get to talking to aliens before I let you all know. This is what entrepreneurship looks like. And now I'm stopping this real talk because again we're talking about what it's like to be a Black woman, and I just want to highlight one of the things that you do consistently, and since I've known you, is that you step into the limelight. You like, no, I will be heard. You will know who I am. And I love that. And I just want to make sure that we pull that out because that's something I think we should celebrate more when Black women do. It's like, no, you're not going to move beyond that. And I apologize. I keep going back to my show notes because Horse be telling me like, dude, you know these people, but everybody doesn't. And I forget because I get excited. I ain't gonna lie, I get excited, but it's my show. Donnie said I could do it. So yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead and talk. Describe to the aliens now that you don't let them know who you are. Describe to the aliens what it's like to be a Black woman.
So, first of all, you said something that really struck a thought, right? You said that we have to shine a light on Black women, especially as we step into these spaces. How I was very bold in introducing myself, showing up very confidently as who I am. And a lot of times, as a Black woman, society tries to silence us. Corporate America tries to silence us, communities, politicians, but also our families, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men,
This is why.
men, right?
Ooh, this is why I love talking to you. Why we doing it? Come on, let's go. Talk about it. Because this is what I want them to know. Tell them about it.
It's the whole thing, right? And as a Black woman, I'm glad that you brought that up because I pride myself on showing up as my authentic self in spaces because it's so important. Because there are so many Black women who are out there showing up in spaces and they are not their authentic selves. They are robots. They have assimilated themselves to the environment that they are in to please everyone else around them. And as I have been evolving as a Black woman, but specifically a Black queer woman, right, in a space that is typically occupied by a lot of white males in the financial services industry, it's very important that I am confident in who I am so that I can show up as my full self, as this beautiful Black queen with locks who loves myself, but also loves fighting for my people. And I enjoy being able to introduce myself, but also my company, to say that we serve entrepreneurs of color, but really Black folks, right? Let's be real. And when you
Mm-hmm.
think about what is it like to be a Black woman, we are pillars in our communities. We are pillars in our families, right? Wherever we go, Black women are seen as being strong, dependable, right? They are seen to truly impact and affect real change, especially the Black women that I try to assimilate myself with. Because listen, it can go a few ways. Being a Black woman, to me, it encompasses being a very multifaceted human being, right? A lot of times people will try to limit us and put us in a box of what's comfortable for them, what has been the norm in society, what is the safest for your family, what's not going to embarrass XYZ, right? Those are all limitations that have been placed on us based on other people's experiences, based on other people's discomfort, right? But as a Black woman, being able to show up as myself is dope. Being a Black woman is dope. I saw a post earlier and it mentioned March being Women's History Month. And as a Black woman, we get to be celebrated twice, right? We're just coming out of Black History Month and heading right into Women's History Month. And it is amazing for me to show up as myself, as this Black woman who is very intentional about making change in my community.
I love it. One of the things that you talk about as an asset, and I recognize, and other guests have said this something very similar, is the need to be multifaceted because the world hits you from all different directions. But one of the things that I also have seen is that having to navigate like in your case, not just the different roles, but also the different identities and all of the social, professional, familial, economic, academic, all of those things, and everybody kind of around you trying to tell you, oh, Lyndsae. Actually, hell, how about this? I know this one hits you often. Lyndsae. That Lyndsae is not. But like even that something as small as that's not really how you should pronounce your name, to that's not really how you should wear your hair, to maybe you should look. How do you navigate in a space where like everything you do, everybody got something? If you wear a bonnet, you are ghetto. If you don't wear a bonnet, you a pick me. If you got eyelashes, you trying too hard. If you don't got eyelashes, you look like a boy. Like I think about it for you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got myself worked up, but it ain't even mine. Like it just seems so much. Like how do you even do it?
It's a lot. To be honest, it takes a lot of self-work. It takes you doing that reflective work to understand who you are, to be comfortable with who you are, and then being able to show up as who you are, because all of them are different things, right? All of us as Black women, some of us are still struggling with our identities, right? And I'm not even going to tap into like when we talk about having, sexualities that identify with the LGBT community plus, right? As well as
That's a
being a
different
Black
thing.
woman, because that's a whole different challenge on its own, right?
I'm sorry, we got time. You could talk about it if you want.
Time, right?
Myself.
Listen, like it's a whole nother thing. And for me, it took therapy to get here. There was a point in time where I was not okay with myself, where I started my therapy journey a few years ago because I was having identity issues, because I wasn't who my parents wanted and needed me to be, or more so my sexuality, right? But also showing up as a Black woman in the banking space, or when I was in the retail banking world and trying to climb the corporate ladder, also being in a space where I was in school, I was pursuing my MBA while struggling with so many other personal things. I needed therapy. I realized that I cannot do this alone. Like, this is not a journey that I can embark on alone. And for me, it was the best thing of my life because she was able to really hold a mirror to my face to show me who I was, but also to show me that, Lyndsae, you are perfect as you are for who you are. And it's important for you to show up as your real self because there's somebody else out there that's potentially watching you who needs to see you show up as who you are so that they can be comfortable. And when I walk into spaces and I see so many other Black women shrinking, right? They play small for everyone else. Sometimes they're playing small because of their husband. Sometimes they're playing small because of their family dynamic. And a lot of times they're playing small because of their job, right? And because of the possibilities that they want to be available to them when they're climbing the corporate ladder, and they don't want to be considered as being too much, as right, as being that angry Black woman if they are a little bit more opinionated or know how to speak up for themselves. So when I see that, right, it encourages and motivates me even more to continue to show up as who I am. But I didn't get here alone. It was definitely therapy, for sure.
One of the things that I was watching that movie Django, like that's still it's still got a lot of problems with that. But they talked about his wife, and he used a phrase that I hadn't heard before, and I looked it up afterwards. He said she was a comfort woman. And that normally meant the sexual object for the men and women in the house, but it also meant the kind of all other duties as assigned. And what I have, as I started looking and reading it, again, so much of the slavery stuff was just so exceptionally disturbing. But it is this dehumanization and objectification of Black women that you are for my comfort. If you, especially there was this, okay, so I'm not going to do that whole story of Ruth with get your help. What is the dude's name? Get yourself, or what you call it? Because I got opinions on that. We're not going to do that. But making sure that you are being authentically you. You know what I mean? And no matter what other people want you to be. And how did you, I know you said therapy was a help, but there was something that got you to go in the first place. I mean, I know there are a lot of people who get caught up in the whole, I can't be who I am for whatever that is. What was it?
A part of it for me was understanding the change that I wanted to create, understanding the impact that I wanted to have on this world. And once I decided that I was truly committing my life to serving the Black community and specifically the small business community and making sure that our business owners had a chance, I realized that, Lyndsae, you need a voice. Lyndsae, people need to hear you. Lyndsae, you have to put yourself out there. But again, when you're struggling with your identity, when you're struggling with confidence, you don't feel like you are able, you don't feel like you are worthy of having a platform or being on someone else's platform. But I have a lot to share. I have so much to give, and I have done so over the last few years. And in order for me to continue making that impact, I have to show up as me. Because also, in our community, we struggle with trust, right? Especially when it comes to the financial services space, right? We don't trust banks. We don't trust a lot of the people that we meet within the financial sector. So if I want to truly create that impact within my communities, my people have to trust me. They can't trust me if I'm not showing up as myself, because people can feel whether or not you are being authentic. Okay, it's a real thing. And once it took me also, to be honest, it took me hearing words of affirmation from clients and from people who are around me to affirm me, right? Because yes, we can do a lot of work on our own. Yes, we can go to therapy and get that work, but we also need to be affirmed by the people that we are around. And I also appreciated having a tribe of Black women who loved me for who I was, for exactly who I showed up as. They loved me, they loved on me, and they showed me that, Lyndsae, you have so much to offer this world, but I can only do that as my authentic self as Lyndsae.
So how is it that you balance this idea of being the authentic Lyndsae with this role that everybody wants you to have as the comfort woman, as the you should be small because when you're too big, you make me feel uncomfortable. Like you should make enough money, but not make me feel bad about how much money you make. You should have kids and raise them like you don't have a job, but you better be Black excellence all the time. Like, and your voice needs to only be used when it doesn't make other people uncomfortable. Okay, can you do that? Just real quick. I mean, I don't think it's too much. It's just be a little less. Like you don't do you wouldn't even need to be all extra. Like just relax a little bit. How do you deal with that? You make me uncomfortable.
Honestly, I had to get to a point where I didn't care. I don't care if I make you uncomfortable. I don't care if you need me to be XYZ to make you feel good. And once I stopped caring about what other people had to say or how they felt, I was able to start understanding that, Lyndsae, you can't take it personal. That's them struggling with something that has nothing to do with you. You are kind of here, right? And potentially you are in a space where this person feels like they can dictate who you can and cannot be for their comfort. Nah. And it used to matter to me. I'll be honest. It definitely used to matter, especially when I was younger in my career. I was, growing within the retail banking ladder. And then one day I started surrounding myself. And once I transitioned from DC to Baltimore, also Black folk in DC, a little bit different than Black people in Baltimore, right?
Yeah,
We're not even going to dig into that. However,
that's a different show. That's a whole
it's
other
a
of
whole
another
different show. But once I got to Baltimore, I was like, oh, these are my people. Y'all are comfortable with who y'all are. Y'all aren't fighting for Capitol Hill. Got it. Once
We actually care about the community because the
correct.
community is us.
The community is us. And once I got to Baltimore, once I started hanging around women such as like the Women Entrepreneur Leadership Lab, founded by, Nakia Drummond. Like once I started surrounding
Big
myself,
up to Nakia, big up
big ups to Nakia, absolutely. Once I started surrounding myself like with women such as Nakia, when I saw people like Monica Mitchell, serving in spaces and roles that you don't see a lot of us in. Listen, I learned that I can do anything, and I can definitely do anything when you have the right people on your team and who supports you. And having women like that who encouraged me to be myself, who encouraged me to grow and evolve into the woman that I am today, it gave me permission. So the permission I needed was from other Black women who look like me. So yes, this is what we need in our communities.
So how did you get that relationship? Because that sounds wonderful to have people who are more advanced in the industry. And again, big up to Monica Mitchell, love Monica. But like that, what you're talking about is what, there's a book called The Memo. I cannot remember the sister who.
Linda Hart.
Oh, I love that book. I mean, it wasn't necessarily written for me. I'm not target market, but I've recommended that book. It is wonderful. And one of the things she talks about is sponsors. And you have been able to find them throughout the space. But I've heard, and we've had Black women on the show who like, sometimes they go into spaces and skin folk ain't kinfolk. So how do you navigate that whole finding the Monicas and versus finding the, oh, I'm gonna throw you under the bus? Actually, one of our guests, and tell me if you've experienced anything like this in your answer. She said that when she had a black female supervisor once, and people were concerned that she was going to show favoritism to her, so she ended up being harder on her to show that she wasn't playing favorites. And she was like, oh well, I just want to make sure everybody knows that I got your back, but I want to make sure everybody, because I need them to feel comfortable with my role. So I that was a lot, but it was a lot. I love this topic.
That's good. So I've always been that person that did not mind asking for help, support. Like I did not mind. So I come from a very, very small town, very marginalized community where you have very limited resources, very limited access. So you had to be very intentional if you planned on making it out. Let's be honest, right? So I had mentors even in high school. I was a part of programs where I had Black women who poured into me to make sure that I would make it out. I remember being in 8th grade, right? I was reading the morning announcements for school, but that was because another Black woman said, "Hey, I see talent in you. Like, you have a gift for speaking. Let's try this out." And here I am today, right, on a platform hosting a radio show. My degree is in broadcast journalism. That came from Black women seeing something in me, pouring into me. Um, I attribute my willingness to knock on that door to ask for mentorship to my community, because if you were not willing to ask for help, you didn't receive it. Let's be honest. But
What did they
also,
say? Closed mouth don't get fed.
correct. But also, I have to shout out Miss Brittany Knight, who was my first branch manager when I started in the banking industry. And she was amazing. Our entire team at the Shaw Howard location at the time, that branch of Wells Fargo, right down the street from Howard University, my entire team was POC, people of color. So it was ran by our top management were Black women, business specialists, Black women, right? Black men, in the office. And just to see those Black women show up the way they did every day, this team, this top performing team, I also saw early on in my career that it was possible. But also, those Black women, they showed me the ropes. They would literally sit with me and tell me who I need to know, who was in this segment of the bank, who, like, literally they gave me the ropes. And that in itself was monumental for me.
Yeah.
Like, that gave me the confidence as this part-time. Mind you, I met Monica Mitchell when I was a part-time teller.
Wow.
I was a part-time teller, still in undergrad at the time. And I remember I don't remember how, I think an at work program manager gave me her information, and I picked up the phone and called this lady. I sure did. I spoke to her. I heard about the role that she was in. I let her know that I was interested in her mentorship, and Monica immediately said yes. Immediately said yes. But that would not have happened had I not picked up the phone, had I not been confident enough. And at that time, I was living and working in DC, and she was based out of Baltimore. That was an hour trip. Right? But I made it happen. The opportunity presented itself for me to come to Baltimore for an event, actually. So I got to see her in person, really meet her and enjoy her energy. I also met one of my current mentors that same day, Courtney DeRamus. And these are the same women who Courtney, she used to partner with Tracy Horn with Wells Fargo at Work.
Okay, I thought I remember. Yes.
Including Miss Tracy. Literally,
love Tracy. Big ups
these
to Tracy and
women
Courtney.
carried me throughout my career. Like, I can remember, I can name at least 2 positions that had these women not been in my life, I might not have wouldn't gotten, right? So them making phone calls, them being an advocate and sponsor for me, but also me being open and willing to say, hey, this is what I'm interested in. Hey, this is also what I have to offer. It's not trying to soak from you. It's also, hey, I'm trying to put in the work.
And that's what the relationship is. It is a mutuality of exchange. And a lot of people want to look at it like I've had people I've worked with, especially Black women, well, a couple of Black women, say things like, nobody would ever help me. Nobody would do that. People don't do that. And one of them in particular recently I was talking about, I was like, I'm sorry that that's the world you come from. Like, and one of the things I saw was like, I don't know who you know, but fuck all your friends. I'm gonna show you mine. I'm bringing you. Oh damn, I cursed, didn't I? Sorry. Okay, sorry. But I'm going to introduce you to my friends, because my friend, you in the streets, like, and it's not like, oh well, wait a minute, is it who gonna be there? Am I gonna be able to get a contract, or all right, it's like, no, who needs help? Let's put in help. And then, and that's kind of the communities that we come from. Like, it's love, that the commodity is love, the relationship. That is what we sell. It's like, how many times have we been places and somebody, your money ain't good here, because your relationship is more valuable than any dollar you put.
Absolutely.
So what happens next? So this is so the alien's like, oh wow, this has been a lot to digest. Bleep, bleep. No, that's a computer, that's a robot. Sorry. I don't know what alien said. So now the alien is, so you move back and it's like, okay, so what has been some of the things in your experience as a Black woman that you would consider success?
Honestly, the number one part, and I hope it's not too cliche, right? Me being able to show up as my true authentic self and do what I want to do every single day. For me,
Mhm.
that is success, baby, because for so long I was not able to do that. I was not able to operate as my full self, to show up as my authentic self. But
Right.
then to also show up and do what I do every day within my business for the people that I want to do it for. That's success for me. Before the millions come, that is still an avenue of success for me.
Right.
Because one, I'm able to wake up every day. I don't have to figure out who do I need to be today? Do I have to worry about code switching today?
Right.
Who's going to be in the office? I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. That is a level of success for me, especially because there are so many people, not even just women, but there are so many people who cannot do that. So my ability to create, to be creative, like, and have unlimited access to my own creativity. There are some people who have been not just silenced verbally, right? But
Mhm.
their creativity has also been silenced in the workplace, their ideas being thrown in the trash just because of who they are and who they show up as with these ideas, right? That
Mhm.
itself is success for me. But also me being able to be a pillar in my community, specifically within the financial space, with a specific focus on helping Black families unlearn some things so that we can relearn some positive things, right? To really change how we show up economically in the world as a community in general. That's success for me, baby, because it's a lot
Mhm.
of people out there who look like me in the financial services industry that are not okay with taking care of our people, that
Right.
are not okay
Right.
with educating our people.
They
They're
they are
still
they are people to be exploited.
correct. They are absolutely. And for me, being able to do this in that way, that is success for me. But also another measure of success is my ability to love who I want to love. Because I know so many people who can't. So many
Yeah.
people who are still in the closet because they're not accepted at home. They're not accepted in the workplace. They're not accepted in their communities. I don't take who I am, my journey, the things that I have overcome for granted at all, because there are still so many people struggling with those very things. But for me, those are measurements of success because I know how hard I worked to get there in
Right.
every avenue that I just named. But also my ability to take care of the whole me, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial. My ability to understand that these areas of my life drive and make up who I am as that whole woman, and to have the time and the space and the freedom to be very intentional about nurturing each of those areas in my life.
So you have made the alien profoundly engaged in this whole thing. He's deep in thought. Like, he's thinking about the over the light years that he's traveled to come to this little mud ball, and it's like, huh, this Black woman thing. This is interesting. But tell me, Black woman, there along many of your arcs, there is an event that changed everything. Changed the way you saw life, the how you felt about it. Sometimes it was positive, sometimes it was negative. Do you have one of those, Madam Black Woman?
Definitely. Definitely. I have two of those.
Okay.
And they both happened within the same month, right? So
Wow.
back in October of 2020, literally still recent, right? So this version of me that you guys are getting, this is a new me. This
This
is
is
an
brand new.
evolved me, right? And it happened after October 2020. I was laid off from my job. Branches were closing, the banks were merging. And for me, that took a hit at my pride, first of all, but it also destroyed who I was mentally, professionally, because I had my identity was to my job. Me and my job, like if you knew me, then you know my job.
Yes.
The companies that I worked for were everything. And I feel like I had made them somewhat of a god in my life. And one that wasn't healthy for me because I didn't have personal balance during those times at all.
Right.
I was not taking care of myself. But to get back on track, one, losing my job, it changed my life forever because it also showed me how dispensable I was to a company. Right. It showed me that no matter how much work I did, no matter how much business I brought in, if there were budget cuts, I'm just a name and a number on a piece of paper.
The person who made the decision, you're an employee number, and probably didn't even. It's like, oh, 77342. That'll save us about 80,000 a year, and with that, we can move some of these resources. Like, have no person was in that conversation.
Yeah, that. And then I also lost my grandmother that same month. So I lost my job actually on her birthday, and I lost her 2 weeks later. So that was a life changing for me. She was my last living grandmother, and she was the only grandmother that I kind of really grew up around and knew. I lost my first grandmother at the age of 3, and I don't really have a lot of memories of her. So losing my grandmother, it changed my life, and in a very interesting way because this particular grandma, loved her to death, right? And it was not at any fault of her own. But as I got older, I started to learn that grandma didn't necessarily agree with my sexual preferences, right? And it wasn't a conversation that she and I had. It was conversations between her and other family members, not necessarily about me, but about other cousins, first cousins, her other granddaughters, right? And to start, when you're young, you stay in a child's place. You don't hear what's really going on within the family drama, right? You don't got older. And it was after grandma passed that more people in the family started to open up and to speak about certain things. And I learned of grandma's position when it came to that. And it was a little unsettling for me, but also really building relationships with older cousins who identified the same as I and having real conversations, learning how grandma felt. And it made me think, well, I wonder how grandma would have felt had we had a conversation about it. Did she really know about me or did she not know? Like that caused so much confusion in my head, but it also caused me to really push the envelope with my family. Like even with my dad, like it's something that we don't talk about. So don't ask, don't tell really situation. Like he might talk to my mom about it and then I talk to my mom. It's, she's kind of that
the in between, yeah.
Correct. But it made me push the envelope because I'm just like, y'all love on me any other time. Don't let who I choose to love change how y'all feel about me. And once I learned that there was a particular cousin in my family who was almost pretty much disowned by my grandma, it really made me say, you know what? Bump this. This is who I am. This is how I'm going to show up. Either you get with the program and be a part of my life or you don't, and I'm going to be okay either way.
Right. But it's one of the things that a lot of the women that have been on the show have been talking about is that this moment of clarity where it's not the full version of you, but you say, this is who I am. Yeah. For at least for right now.
At least for right now.
This is who I am. And so, and I want to ask this next part. They make the decision, and many of them talk about how when they roll out the decision, that decision is rebuffed. It is like the boundary is tested. And one of the first things that at least some of my friends and some of our guests talked about is this idea of why do they keep doing that? I set a boundary. Why are they pushing it? I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. Why wouldn't they? It is not their responsibility not to cross your boundary. Once you have defined this is who I am, it is my responsibility to make sure if you cross it, there are consequences. I can't keep you from breaking into my house, but I'm not going to let you move in afterwards. I know, no, ma'am. You take what you want. You rob me, but you don't get a key. No, thank you. But so how do you navigate through this whole, this is a boundary, and then people be like, but is it?
It's about holding people accountable to your boundaries,
Okay.
because your boundaries are for you. My boundary isn't for them. That's also something that we have to realize.
Mm.
My boundary is not for them, for
Mhm.
their comfort, for their learning. Nah, you do that on your own time. My boundaries are to protect me. My boundaries are
Mm.
to keep you on that outside with that energy. To be honest, right? Me having boundaries and me enforcing them even in the middle of a conversation. You know what, this conversation is making me uncomfortable. I'll give you a call a little bit later. Or you know what, I'm taking a couple of days to myself. I just need a little bit of space, right? I have gotten so much more comfortable in doing that now that I'm able to really show up as myself, and I love myself enough where I am not concerned about what they have to say or even what they are thinking about me.
Mhm.
Once you get there, it's much easier to enforce your boundaries. And the thing is that people who want to be a part of your life, they have to learn either to respect your boundaries
Oh,
or
there you
not
go.
with you.
So let's in that process of starting to enforce your boundaries, because for a lot of Black women, because of the training, it's new. It's going to be new. It's going to be you. You have
Absolutely.
always been the one to take fix plates, make sure people's beds and everybody get to. Like, I have a friend who nobody travels in her family unless they all want to go places and like on their own. Like, oh, I want to go this place, but can you wait? How do you get a plane? Like, and so she has to do all of this stuff. But when she has started to try and enforce boundaries, there are two things that, and some of it has to do with the power dynamic:
Mm-hmm.
guilt and bullying.
Yes.
And bullying is a very specific type of bullying that other guests that talk about for Black women. It is the embarrassment. It's the use of shame as a bullying tactic. Like, and some of it is so. And I did not know. And some of it is real Southern. Like, it's the further south you go, the smoother it is. It's like good moonshine. It's like, oh, you want to wear that? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, oh,
Oh, that's
oh,
different.
that's your friend. Oh, yeah. Clearly, you two belong together.
I told you I'm from North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what. But
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
but that, but those are the tools that get used. So it's like, so you don't want to hang out. Oh, I guess you got more important things to do.
And do.
But you see what I'm saying? But talk about how, because we've talked before, and you said you didn't start there. You
Correct.
said you how do you make it past it? Because for a lot of some of my friends, can't say a lot, my friends who struggle, that's the place. It's like, who else is going to do it? If I don't do it, then I'm gonna look like, oh, I don't want them. Y'all don't go out here making me look like I'm a bad mother. Don't go out here making me look like I'm a bad partner or spouse. Don't go, because we've defined you by how you show up and the roles and your sacrifices. How do you make it from, okay, is one, defining myself as new, so okay, and now everybody's running my boundaries, and I don't want to always have to be angry to enforce my boundaries. Like, how do you? Because again, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, damn, I'm tired of asking a question.
Yeah.
So,
Burnout. Experiencing burnout,
mm,
experiencing being in a space where I literally had nothing to give
mm,
myself, because one, I had tried to give it all to everybody else. That was also life changing, really being able to really just sit and feel empty inside,
mm.
but also physically empty. It's just like I have nothing. And I hit that space in my life, after those two events. And I'm just like, here I am serving on this board, that board, helping this client, doing this, being this pillar in my family, being this trusted person. But I have nothing for myself. Nothing. But where are those people when I need them? Where are they when I have nothing? Experiencing that one too many times will force you to change, will force you.
Yeah, no, I will say, not just the force to change. I have seen it change dynamics when it comes to familial relationships.
Oh, especially there.
Because I like some of my friends who have kids, like the one I'm thinking about in particular. Her son wants to travel someplace. Not that he doesn't owe her a bunch of money because she paid a bunch. Separate issue though, but parent bank account. My boys know Son's day were last week, and they know still don't come from my pockets. Don't do that. But so he wanted to go out, go West Coast or whatever, and she's like, and she calls him. I mean, he calls her to figure out, could she help him order the plane or get the tickets or whatever. And she's like, I was like, I'd be like, well, I said some other things about some stuff she should tell him. But I was like, no. She was like, well, if I don't, then he's gonna do it. He's probably gonna mess it up, spend way too much money, and he's gonna call me for money anyway because there's gonna be something he forgets. And I realized that part of the problem is that I did not understand. I didn't, because then that's the choice you made. You made that choice. But when I talk to especially some of my friends and their relationships and stuff like that, the phrase is, well, somebody who's going to do it? Nobody else is going to do it. And that guilt and that shame and
you have to understand your worth. One, as a person, as a woman, as a Black woman, you have to understand your worth. You have to value yourself to understand when enough is enough. And I'll be honest, I struggled with that for a very long time. I did not value myself, right? I did not understand what I was truly worth. Until, right, having that community, building community of other Black women, right, who were struggling with similar issues or who had overcome the issues that I was experiencing. But also therapy, like having those conversations. And I have to keep throwing therapy out there because we also know that as a community, as a Black community, a lot of times we don't really trust the idea of therapy. Like most of us are accustomed to what happens in this house stays in this house, or
there is so much abuse that happened because
it is abuse. That is exactly what it is. And being able to like really talk through therapy, like really being able to understand who I was, but also understand that I was enabling these people to treat me this way. I gave y'all permission to do that.
Oh, okay, so be careful because you know how I feel about some of those phrases. And the thing is, because I get excited. Just help me calibrate, make sure I'm on the right space, because you don't allow someone to victimize you. You like, if I want to break into your house, you can, but that's still me. It is what you do afterwards. You can't stop them from violating your boundaries. Again, it is, I can't stop you from breaking into my house, but I'm also damn sure not going to give you a key. And that is the accountability, not just the whole because what I've seen is narcissists and abusers create these unrealistic expectations. Well, see, look, you let it happen to you again. So see, you dumb anyway. You dumb for letting it happen. You so dumb for doing this. Why are you so dumb? How did you let that happen to you? I did not rape myself. I did not knock myself over the head. I did not lie to me. Well, maybe, but that's a different one, deeper psychological, not what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
I got you.
But like, and I've seen abusers use that, to get you to not trust yourself anymore. And so that's why when you say stuff like that, I'm like, wait a minute, like I know what you're saying because you and I talk about stuff like this, but I want to make sure see, I told you, she said, you can't achieve what Lyndsae achieved because you ain't shit. That's why you need me, baby. And I want to make sure that we don't fall into those traps anymore.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree. And I think a big part of that is understanding who you are, loving who you are in spite of, so that you can't be rocked. You need to be able to stand 10 toes down in who you are, period. In your romantic relationship, in your professional relationship, so that you aren't moved and wavered by other people and their opinions and their issues and their thoughts.
And you will grow. And that's one of the things, especially as we talk about relationships, no matter, the variety, it is if you are the same person you were and do the same thing you did 20 years ago, you wasted 20 years. When you are with your significant other, your family members, I learned the hard way, ex post facto, that I should have been more trying to build with them and not trying to make them in what I wanted them to be.
because they were who they were, and I have learned to love them. But in my mind, I was trained that as the head of a family, we're supposed to do this. You know, everybody has to go to church, and we have to sit there and look like we are paying attention. And but I'm going to text you the whole time, but we have to look serious while we're texting. And it was all about the show, because in a lot of our relationships, we don't know. Love is just what feels good. What I realized before, what I, especially through this conversation with a lot of guests and other Black women, even preparing for the show, it's like the way that you all show up for love is different. It is not commoditized. It's not like, well, I gave you this much love, now you need to get this. And that is one of the things that I think keeps getting exploited. Like my friend's son. It's like, mom's going to take care of it anyway. Like, worst case scenario, she goes, if I do make a mistake, she's going to call him and fix it. Like, how do you deal without the reciprocity?
You have to first understand what it is that you need and desire in life. And that's from every single relationship that you are in. Mother to son, mother to husband, mother to, woman to wife. Like, you have to understand, what do I need from these relationships?
But
I'm sorry.
But Lyndsae, that's being selfish. That's how you. That's being selfish.
That's toxic. That's toxic. In our communities, they have taught us that thinking about us makes us selfish, and that is not true. That makes us wise, right? That makes us self-aware, first of all, but that also makes sure that we preserve self. Because there are people out there, the world, let's just say the society, right? They are very intentional about removing bricks and layers of who we are, one piece
to make them comfortable.
Literally one piece at a time to make them comfortable.
No. And what happens is that then when you get to the point where you're like, my foundations is a little crumbly, can y'all help me? God, how you let yourself go like that? Woo, my, like, shouldn't you have been saving? Well, yeah, no, but I covered my blah, 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 I had an emergency. Well, I mean, you should reach out to them to do it. It's like, but remember when you needed me. And there was no caveat, no condition. I was all in, but now when the system has, the situation has changed. Like, so how, I understand what happens, and I appreciate, the anchoring it into who you are and what you want first. Like making and anchoring that off. Like, this is what I'm reserving to me. Nobody can have this. If my workout time is 7 to 8, there is nothing that happens between 7 and 8. Don't care. And I get that part, but the when you go to your therapy and is it like them giving you the answer, like, okay, Black lady, this is how you work it through. Like, how do you know how to love yourself if you've only experienced exploitation? Like, if everybody's love has been part of the contingent of you giving, if that has been the measure of who you are, how do you even know how to love you?
That's a great question. And for me, it took solitude. It took me no longer being in a romantic relationship. It took me separating from certain friendships, unplugging, to really spend time with me, because I'll be honest, I did not know myself. I did not know and understand these things, because I had attached myself to, when I was with my parents, I was automatically attached to them. When I was at the company, I was attached to the company, right? I spent more time invested in the company than in myself. In that relationship, you are invested in the other person and making them happy. It was when I actually took time for self. I had to spend months in solitude, me literally just focusing on me, unplugging, not being as concerned about everybody else that's around me, because I learned that I needed me when I realized that I didn't have much, and I didn't have anybody else trying to fill the gap of what I didn't have. That empty cup that I had to learn how to pour into that empty cup. And once I realized that I had to do it on my own, and I didn't have a lot of people around me to do that in those spaces, I became more selfish about my cup, because I'm like, listen, I worked hard for this cup, baby. I can only give you from my overflow. If I don't have overflow, I don't have much to give you, because I need all of this Too many
I have measured and know that this is what I need. I have measured, and because it's and that's I'm sorry. That's the thing that I've seen Black women do, because they measure. If they show up and tell you it is 12 of them that are necessary, it probably needs really 13, but they know they can pull out another one later. And so it is, but that's what we start expecting superheroes all the time, and then get mad at you when you don't take bullets. Yeah. How you just gonna let the whole? I mean, I know I made the bomb, but you could have just you strong enough to disarm it. Why'd you let me do it? And actually, I've seen this a few times. Men who blame women for cheating on them. Like, I mean, look at you. So as the alien is about to, because that's we're gonna do that another month. But as the
I didn't even comment.
I know that's, and I'm grateful to you for that, because you know I'm wild, and you know, and I appreciate you for not pleasing on that, because we ain't got a lot of time left. So that's how I know you my friend. That's because you know you. That's why I had to put my hands up and stop, because I knew it was about to happen. I was like, no, I'm not getting the email from Donnie today. Not today. Not today, Jesus. But as the alien is wrapping up, it's like, look, all right, we like this Black woman stuff you told us. Like, you've given us this really robust and rich, multifaceted approach to her. We want to support her. And we have the ability to influence all of the other humans. What do you want them to do to be more supportive of you as a Black woman?
Invest in my business.
Okay.
You know, invest in in the platforms that I have that creates impact, right? Because
so tell them how. Tell them how right now. Let them know.
You ain't let me get there.
Oh, I get excited. I forget who I'm dealing with. I forget you ain't new to this. You new to this.
I want to help. I got it. Don't worry. Right?
You know what? We're gonna just go ahead and give it to you.
So no, truly, in all seriousness, I have so much to say. I have so much to give, and I have a burning desire to truly create an impact in our community. And the best way for people to support me is to support my business, so that I can take care of myself, support myself, my livelihood, but also too, so that I can continue doing this work unapologetically. Share my stuff, right? It does not cost you anything to hit like, comment, share, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, right? Even if it's not something that you're interested in, think about somebody else. It could be a family member, it could be a community member, it could be a fellow peer in business, right? There is something that I have to say, that I have to offer, that can support somebody around you. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. I know that people enjoy hearing me. I know that my clients enjoy working with me, but we have to do more, right? We have to reach beyond, and to make sure that we're exposing others. So to support me, you can go to my website at www.kingdomvisionconsult.com. You can also follow me personally on Instagram at Peele the Real Deal. You can follow the business at Kingdom Vision Consult on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can also follow the radio show at The Real Deal Radio Show on Instagram. And be open to growing and evolving within your financial journey. One thing that I want our people to understand is that we put limits on ourselves based on other people's perspectives, based on what you feel like you can or cannot do, still because of what somebody else told you. There are no limits. COVID has showed us one thing, is that you literally have one life to live, and you have to do it for yourself. Even when failures come, even when you face trials, you need to bet on you. I'm betting on me, and I'm just asking y'all to support me while I'm betting on me.
Look at you killing the game and all that. Look at you doing the damn thing. I appreciate you real big. So we are going to be able to get you back, right? This ain't the last time.
Absolutely.
I gotta make sure and check in. I ain't had no trouble. I was expecting you coming back. You're like, nah, I'm good. I want to know that. I want to level set, pre-disappoint myself if it was. Okay.
I'm family now at this point.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
family on Black USA, so we good. We
Cool
good.
in the gang. So I will talk to you, ladies and gentlemen. Lyndsae Peele. Make sure y'all go give Lyndsae some money. Go give her some money. But what? I gotta be honest, y'all. I bring you all incredible people every time. I love my life. I love my life. We got a chance to talk to Lyndsae, and she took us in a whole bunch of directions and really got us to see the multifaceted nature. Whew, being a Black woman. All right, because I need to go calm down a little bit. I got myself worked up, so I'm gonna go get some breakfast or something. But until tomorrow, we will be Black then.